All right, good evening, everyone. If you can hear me and you're in my Facebook group, can you do me a favor? Type in hi as you jump on. Make sure I got this set up correctly. Let's see. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I want to make sure I want to share this out to my fan page, and then we are good to go. Just trying to make sure that I can hear myself, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Okay, let's see. Hey, Charity, let me know if you can hear me. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so I think the volume is good there. And I want to share this to my fan page this time. Just give me 1 second. Share to a page. And I don't actually believe that I can share it to my page. I think it's private. But nonetheless, yeah, so it's private. Okay, nonetheless, let's go ahead and let's get started. I'm super excited to be able to hang out with you guys tonight. And thank you guys for, jumping on here live with me or catching this replay. So if you're one of my replay viewers, do me a favor when you jump on hashtag replay, let me know where you are also tuning in from. I'm going to be really quick and brief tonight. Like I said, this is very impromptu. But as I've been mentioning to several that I have been connecting with in my group, or either by email or just by messaging, that I recently made a shift within my business where I decided, hey, to get back to doing what I, was doing, why I fell in love with the whole coaching industry is to really be able to help so many other women on a deeper level, right? I wanted to do something that was more in tune with my purpose, what it is that I'm called to do, who I'm called to serve, being a fatherless daughter and a teen mother is sometimes as a result of that, of your fatherlessness. So I wanted to be able to really, reach people on a deeper level, be able to work with women who are fatherless as well as daughters, be able to empower them and provide them with the necessary tools to equip them to be able to, embrace life, to have better relationships, and have success in all areas of their life, right? So that brings me up to this topic. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is LaKeisha Hankins. You can definitely find out more about me at LaKeishaHankins.com. You want to make sure you go there and you subscribe, and stay tuned for for the Facebook group for updates. As well as I'll be sharing more value and more awareness around this topic and how it is impacting women in many areas of their lives. So for those of you, like I said, who don't know me, my name is LaKeisha Hankins. I'm a certified life coach as well as a certified fatherless daughter advocate. I've been part of the coaching industry since I want to say 2013. And I took a break from it. And, I'll get more into it tonight, but I took a break and really just had to, pump my brakes, step back, and really get clear on what it is that I wanted. Okay. And yesterday I did a post, my first post. I've been posting like in my group, of course, sending out notifications to my email list as well as on my business page. Right. But yesterday I made the first post on my personal page, inviting people to join me for this 3-day fatherless boot camp. And of course, I got so many, I got a couple of inboxes, a couple of phone calls from people saying, hey, wait, you are not fatherlessness, especially from my, my stepdad, even though we had talked about this, and I don't refer to him as my stepdad or anything like that. I call him my dad, but for him, he felt like, oh my gosh, no, you're not fatherless. I've been in your life since you were like a toddler. I raised you, loved you, and all these kind of things. There is nothing that you were lacking or, needing. We made sure we provided for you. But, nonetheless, none to say, I'm still fatherless. And it took me so long to be able to say those words, utter those words out of my mouth, right? More so because I was more so afraid of what others would think or say, or, out of respect for my mother, my biological father, and not wanting to deal with what possibly people on his side of the family, how they would perceive it, because I know there's two sides of the story as far as why he wasn't part of my life. But at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about that. So I have, 3 things that I want to just really talk about tonight. I won't talk about too much because, like I said, I am doing a 3-day boot camp. So I definitely invite you to join me on that boot camp. There's no opt-in that you need to do. I'm not in this to try to build a list, but more so to just to, bring awareness and have a conversation around this topic that's been tiptoed around, that people are dancing around, are afraid to speak up and share their voice. Okay, so what is a fatherless daughter is what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to make sure, there's clarity when I say the word fatherless, what it is that I'm talking about. Okay, so a fatherless daughter is a female who grew up with the unattached, unavailable, or absent father. Okay, so now they may have a father that may have been present physically, but emotionally absent from his daughter's life. You are still fatherless by my definition. So by my definition, if you are a female daughter who grew up with an absent, unattached, or unavailable father, or one who was emotionally, absent, he was there in the home, but still emotionally absent, then you are a fatherless daughter. And I say that because there are so many women who are unaware that they are a fatherless daughter, or that they were fatherless. And fatherless, like I said, doesn't have to necessarily deal with losing your father to a death, or something of those circumstances, something traumatic to that extent, right? So just the fact that he wasn't there. Okay, and you may be like me. You may been raised by your mother remarried, or whatever. You have a stepfather or someone in your life who physically raised you and was there, who provided for you and cared for you and loved you and stuff, right? But at the end of the day, there's still a void that your stepfather, your uncles, your grandparents, cannot fill for you, right? There's still this empty space there. If you got clear and you were truth with yourself, right, it's still there. There's a void. There's this sense of emptiness, of something where you felt like there's something missing, right, that they weren't there, and a lot of times, I grew up to, be grateful. My stepfather was there. He was in my life. So I became okay with the situation. I didn't question why what my biological father was in and out the picture. I didn't question it. I didn't question that, hey, I felt like the only time I saw him was when, he was actually coming to maybe to visit my mother, not necessarily coming to visit me. But I never spoke or said anything about it, because also growing up, sometimes in some homes, you're told to remain in a child's place, and there's some conversations that you just don't have, right? That aren't addressed, that don't come to light, especially in the African American community. They always say what happens at home stays at home, right? And that happens with so many other topics, mental illness, all kinds of things, right? It happens. And, not just in African American homes, but also globally, so fatherlessness affects women globally across the world. Okay. So again, when it comes to being raised as a fatherless daughter, like I said, you could possibly, as women, most of in my group are women, you could possibly also be raising a fatherless daughter, right? A lot of women are afraid to admit that they're raising a fatherless daughter, because internally on their part, they internalize it as a failure on their part, right? And that's not the case. You're not a failure. Things happen, circumstances happen in people's life. But the truth of the matter is, there's fatherless women out there raising fatherless daughters, right? So a lot of times it's a generational. It happens, generation after generation and stuff, and that's just, what it is. And then also we're taught to suppress your daddy wounds and believe that you don't have, that so many people have suppressed them for so many years. Like I, personally, I suppressed mine. Didn't realize they were there because I was so busy being in the moment, being busy, living life, right? And sometimes when you suppress things so deep, or you push them so deep inside, right, you feel like, those wounds are no longer there. It's no longer affecting you. Kind of like if it's out of sight, it's out of mind, right? But guess what? It's still there, Maybe, like I said, your father was at home. But again, just because your father is there, physically available in the home, doesn't mean that he's emotionally available. So I've had conversations with certain people, there where their fathers work, provide, come home, and they want to watch TV or, do X, Y, and Z, but they're not emotionally available, or they have this stern demeanor and stuff, but still the daughter, the child emotionally needs them. There's some emotional needs that are not being met. So again, that's what I mean when I say, what is a fatherless daughter? It's a fatherless daughter is a female who grew up with an unattached, unavailable father or absent father. Hey there, good evening. Welcome to the Facebook Live. Thank you for jumping on. You definitely want to make sure you go back and, catch the beginning if you're listening to the replay. So like what I was saying is, there are so many women who are walking around with the lack of awareness that they're a fatherless daughter. And again, it doesn't mean that you lost your father due to death or anything like that. It just means that you grew up without your biological father, or maybe your, where the father was unattached, unavailable, or absent, right? Or maybe he was there, but he wasn't emotionally available. Okay. And so I have my notes here because I was trying to think, like I said, this was impromptu, and I was like, oh, what do I want to share tonight? Because I'm doing a 3-day boot camp, and I want to make sure what I share tonight is not repetitive of the value that I'm going to share on May 8th. So if you're not in my Facebook group, I'll post the link. You should be in my Facebook group because I'm actually broadcasting this from my group versus my page. But I'll create an event in the group for you to join me on this 3-day boot camp. There's no need to sign up, opt in, and join my email list because it's not about building my list. It's about building awareness around this conversation, around this topic, and being able to help so many other women to, change their beliefs and unlock their success. And, heal their fatherless daughter wounds. So like I said, there are so many women, I realized as when I said yes, that, yes, okay, God, this is what, I felt like I was led and called to do, so I shifted in my business. I realized there are so many women that are afraid to speak up. Like this conversation gets avoided and ignored, and we act as if the feelings and those wounds and that hurt and that pain does not exist. Or maybe they're afraid to speak up because of the fatherless daughters. We're known for putting other people before ourselves, right? We take care of everyone else's needs, and we want to make sure that we're, for the sake that we're not hurting our, our mother, or, possibly the biological father, or, even if you have, like I said, a stepfather or someone in your life, you want to feel like you're not hurting them, you're not stepping on anyone else's toes, right? But again, like I said, I created this group and decided to step out on this journey because that's what I feel like I've been led to do in this season. And it's not about placing the blame on our men in our lives. It's about really getting the, spreading awareness and getting the healing and, that we need. Okay. So, and I wanted to, also share, sorry, I have this hair is good. Mix itself together. Some of the symptoms of a fatherless daughter woman. And if you can relate to any of these symptoms, just type yes in there. You might have experienced them throughout different times of your life growing up as, as a woman, as a teenager, the whole anger and the rage. I would say, definitely as a teen, when I got to that age group, about 12, 13, when I was kind of like the rebellious teen, if I was mad at my stepdad, then that's kind of like when my anger or so would set in that my biological father wasn't there because I was, of course, being rebellious at that time. The feeling of being abandoned and isolated, overdriven by success, that was definitely me. I'm definitely one of those ones that's overdriven for success. trust issues. You have fatherless daughter women have trust issues in relationships because of that fear of rejection, or trust issues, or just, the whole being abandoned and feeling unwanted, unloved, all those different things. Like, it shows up in your relationships. Sometimes they have low self-image, and two of the main areas that they struggle in is with their relationship, and as well as money. So that's kind of like how I incorporated the whole, wanting to really, narrow my niche down to fatherless women in business, because when you don't value yourself, it shows up in your business. Like, you don't charge the prices that you want. You don't believe that you're deserving of success. You're always comparing yourself to other people, or feeling like you're not good enough. And that's simply not the case. You are good enough. You are, deserving of success. And a lot of times is the whole wanting to be, perfect. We get stuck in, the whole trying to make sure that we're doing things perfect. And you don't have to be perfect in life or in business. So those are definitely some of the symptoms of a fatherless woman. And the two that really resonated with me the most were, like I said, overdriven for success, and as well as difficulties with money. Okay, I had a bad relationship with money. Let's see. I was trying to check the comments, make sure I'm not seeing them. They recently made some updates with the whole Privacy Act, with the not showing people's faces, and, some of the comments and things of that sort. So many times, like I said, we're reminding women to know their value. Okay. Nurture does show up in your business. Yes, absolutely. It shows up in your business, shows up in so many different areas of your life. So that's definitely where I wanted to bring, definitely, I understood what you said. I know you were typing fast, to bring some awareness to it, because I definitely think, really it could be a pathway to helping other, women to be able to heal their relationship with money, to heal their relationship with, not even just with their father, with themselves, as well as with even other males in their life. I was talking to my and that was me, like, overly ambitious. You're always going to school, always taking on different courses, always looking for the next level. Okay, what do I do next? Your goals, and it's good to have goals, but there's a difference when you're overdriven. And a lot of that comes from the whole, trying to find value, understanding your value and knowing your worth. Okay, and I was holding that belief myself that I was undeserving, or that I wasn't good enough. So I had to remind myself that I'm good enough, on a regular basis, and take action, whether that's imperfect action or whatever. Okay, so again, like I said, there are so many women walking around with these invisible scars because of shame, and these scars have shaped us to be who we are today. And again, those different patterns are showing up in different areas of our life. They're silent. And, through the course that I'm going to be launching, like a beta program. And that's one of the things I wanted to do, be able to help women to identify these patterns in their life, provide them with the necessary tools that they need, that they can, that use another way to cope, right? And deal with different things as they come up into their life versus what you've been conditioned and normally do, especially if you're on this roller coaster ride within your life and your business, and you're ready to get off that roller coaster ride. I definitely encourage you to stay connected, stay plugged in, right? Because like I said, I'm really super excited about the information that I have to be able to share, with women, as well as with, be able to do some fatherless daughter teen summits that I have, planned to have coming up. So the thing that you need to do, so we talked about what is a fatherless daughter and some of the symptoms, of a fatherless daughter. And one of the things that you need to do is you need a defining moment. Okay. So you need to know that you are not broken. You're not damaged. You don't need to be fixed or any of those different things. You're simply need to just have a defining moment. And what's that defining moment for you? Your defining moment is when you're willing to let go of who you are not, so that you can step in your most powerful space and become who you were born to be. Okay, so that's your defining moment. And that defining moment for me happened, I want to say, back in December. end of last year, as I was planning my business for, this year that was coming up, 2018 or whatever, I went and had, like I said, I had a VIP day. I had it just all mapped out what I wanted to do, but at the end of the day, it didn't feel right, and it wasn't necessarily. So I had to realize, okay, it's not about the money. It took for me to have to shut everything down and sit long enough and still and really search within myself and realize, that what I was doing, it wasn't enough anymore. I wanted something that was more connected with my purpose, to be able to really help women on a deeper level, right? I felt like God was pulling me in a different area. So I was going against what he was, telling me to do. And at the end of the night, I stopped showing up. I stopped showing up in my business. I stopped showing up in, live, different events, all these different things. I had to clearly just shut down and be like, okay, all right, God, what is it that you want from me? And, so that was for me. That's what I needed to do. I really needed to shut down and figure out what it is that I needed to do, where I felt like I was missing some things in my life, and where I was kind of like overcompensating in certain areas. And also, like I say, on this roller coaster ride where I felt like I was, I got to a place in my business, in my life, where I felt like I was stuck and going nowhere really fast. Okay. So, and I say that to say, it really doesn't matter where you are now or what you did in your past. Your past is your past, right? And we all have the power within us to discover our truth. Okay. So whatever your truth is, be able to shatter that shame and move forward. So like I said, so you can step into the fullest of who you are. And so that you can have your aha moment, your defining moment, and see how, your fatherless daughter relationship, your relationship with your father is showing up in your life. Some of the choices and the actions and the decisions that you make are stemming from that relationship. Okay, so I hope that all makes sense and you guys have gotten, value really out of what I've shared with you tonight. And like I said, it's all about awareness, standing in your truth, because when you do, then you can heal and you can release and let go of those wounds of what no longer serves you, right? And again, like I said, it's not about blaming the men in our lives or the men that are not in our lives. It's really about you understanding your truth, understanding, where it is on your journey to healing, especially if you have definitely suppressed those wounds, or it's one of those conversations that you're like, oh, I don't want to talk about. I wanted to make sure, like I say, in my group, I create a safe space where women feel comfortable with sharing and, sharing their voice and not having to be silenced. Okay. So, and I think that's a lot of times, because sometimes we think if we just don't talk about it, we just go on about our life, that it'll just go away. The feelings don't go away. They show up. Okay. And they creep up on us. Yes. You have to release what no longer serves you. So like I said, you will be surprised about what you learn about yourself, your patterns, your thinking, your behaviors. And like I say, sometimes they show up without the knowledge that, and it's keeping us stuck in certain areas. So when I roll out my program, I got to get my dates right. I have a couple of things. I'm traveling over the next 2-3 weeks that I'm doing. But after that, I'm definitely rolling out a beta program, the Fatherless Daughter Breakthrough System, where we really focus on 3 things: really helping women to reclaim their worth and their value, redefine who they really are, and rewrite a narrative for their life. Yes, the feelings, they do show up because the wounds never heal. You're absolutely right. So guys, so if you haven't, like I said, I'll probably create this the night before I log off the computer, the 3-day boot camp that I'm going to do next week. And I'm going to go more into, having a conversation around this topic of fatherlessness and, what it is that you need to do, to heal, and helping women to really understand those different patterns, how they show up in their life, and kick off, like I said, the 6-week beta program that I'll be doing. So I'll have 2 programs for those of you who are connected with me. I want to do one that just really focuses on just the whole fatherlessness itself, and those 3 elements: redefining who you are, rewriting your story, and healing. And then after that one, I want to do something also that focuses, more so on, after I help the women with their money issues, identifying those areas, and then we could talk about business, right? And So I'm excited about this. I hope that you guys join me on this journey. I look forward to sharing more information with you. And, guys, thank you so much. Invite other women, share this group with other women, right? Some way, because like I said, it's at the end of the day, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. It's really about helping other women. So if you have, I realized too, I was having a conversation with someone the other day. I realized even like in my neighborhood when growing up, as I think about back by my childhood years, like a lot of my friends are, that I went to school with and stuff like that were raised in single family homes. So it became my normal. So I didn't see how it was showing up in my life. And like this, the fatherless daughter coaching, I actually had, signed up for some years ago and I never took it. And then something within me in January, it was actually my coach, my mentor, who reached out to me, just touching bases, seeing where, coach and mentor that I had worked with that had got previously she had helped me take my business, to a certain level. So she was reaching out and connecting with me. And then, and she changed my life. She just simply asked me, are you ready to tell your story? And I'm like, what story? And that just opened up the door to my healing and where we are today and, being able to, work on writing a book and, help other women and stuff. So, because when you help yourself, you're able to apply the same principles I applied in my life and be able to share those with other women. So now I am rambling. That is it for the night. I guess I said I was going to keep this short and simple. Just wanted to do that post, especially after I posted on my personal page yesterday and I had so many inboxes, text messages, conversations, from different people saying, hey, what are you talking about? You're not fatherless. You were not a fatherless daughter. Your stepfather was there, blah, blah. But like I said, there's a void. Even if you had a stepfather, uncle, or grandfather, someone in your life, there's a void that they cannot fill for you. Okay, that you still feel like there's something missing, where you're questioning why your biological father wasn't there, or the whole feeling wanted. Why was that not important enough for him to make that extra effort to be a part of my life? So I'm excited. I will touch bases with you guys in the group, and you guys have a good evening. If you have any questions, like I said, my inbox is always open and I'm always available to jump on the line, as well as too. So that's it. You guys have a great evening and I will see you in the group. Good night.